YouTube has been far more challenging to me because it's something I didn't really understand at first, and it was a lot more effort because it went from not knowing anything at all on how stuff works to learning so much so quickly, and then realizing that the content wasn't where I wanted it to be, it wasn't growing where I wanted to be. Almost quit, but that's whenever I found, oh, that one video format. You give information, but sometimes if you really want to get a lot of views, it's how you package it. Because a lot of video making is also you're testing to see if things work. And if they do, that means you're still following the right path, the breadcrumbs even.
When I will see you in captain uniform. Have you ever tried to sell a tank? Sean!
Yeah.
Finally we met. You know, it's been a long trip and excited journey for this. We're finishing recording by the end of this year, and we've been through a lot. So thank you for coming here today. I'm excited to hear about you, but for some people who doesn't know, you started from basically 0 year and a half ago.
Yeah.
On your YouTube, and basically succeeded and outgrowed everybody who expected it, and he was just consistent, and that's what I noticed, and that's what I tell everybody. If you're consistent with your stuff and you pinpoint it, you're able to achieve the greatness. So you over right now, how many subs? 25,000?
No, not 25,000, more like 21,000.
20. Well, you're gonna
Yeah.
be there shortly. I definitely
Yeah.
know that next year, you're gonna be definitely having like a silver button or something easily. But I think today the best conversation would be who you are, how did you start, and you know, where are you going with this, and any wisdom you can share for YouTube. So I hope you're excited. So if you're ready, just start roll.
All right, let's see what we get here.
Yeah, tell me the number.
20.
20. So number 20, what do you love to do in your free time?
What I love to do in my free time. Well, playing video games is one of mine. That's also what I do videos about. There's also hunting and fishing, although those have taken a bit of a sideline to what I'm doing right now because recording stuff does take a while. Those are the two main things I like doing the most.
What about hunting and hunting, is it?
Yeah, hunting and fishing.
Okay. What did you hunt usually?
Usually it would be duck, squirrel, rabbit, dove.
Oh.
Not any big game.
Gotcha. Do you have a lot of pictures and images for that stuff? I'm just curious. I never heard about it.
I wouldn't say it's a lot of pictures, but I have several.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's good. I noticed a lot of my interviewers being huge hunters and stuff. They like to hunt stuff. So, I mean, it's definitely a hobby and stuff. Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Columbia, Missouri. I've lived there basically my entire life. Only have gone outside of Columbia, Missouri to do vacations and such. So one thing that is nice around here is that we have the Missouri River, which we can fish in, and there's plenty of fishing areas. So my dad taught me how to hunt and fish, and there's plenty of hunting areas too. So there's those. And I ended up being the first graduating class for Battle High School. That was interesting. I didn't really care that much about it, but it's interesting being the first graduating class out of a high school.
What your hobbies was like when you was growing up?
When I was growing up?
Yeah.
Actually, I was doing a lot more hunting and fishing back then, mainly because I wanted to do stuff with my dad. But I didn't really start picking up video games until I was 7 or 8. Before then, it was a lot of going outside, getting roughed up, beat up, doing all sorts of things, running around. But after a while, it slowly changed.
So how your video games, what do you play when you was playing video games?
This was back whenever the PlayStation 2 was really hitting its stride, so I was playing old classics like Ratchet and Clank. That was probably one of my favorites back then.
Yeah, I played some of the Ratchet and Clank back there, but my favorite was a Spyro.
Spyro, yeah.
Yeah.
I liked Spyro.
Yeah.
I ended up getting the Reignited trilogy because I couldn't find a way to play them again.
Yeah, I think when Reignited trilogy came out, I played it for a week, and I was finishing everything.
Yeah.
120 like percent of the game or something like that, and just because I find secret passages and stuff. It just was hilarious. What else do you like to play?
Let's see. There was an obscure one called War of the Monsters. It's where you play as like these 1950s style monsters, and you go through a campaign where the end boss is a giant alien you have to fight. There's not really that much story to it, but it was good fun back then, and playing it with my cousins was pretty fun as well, because we'd just do some ridiculous things. Like one time he threw a pebble at me and it killed me because I had low health. It was hilarious.
Yeah, sometimes those fun. Do you have any brothers, sisters?
Yeah, half brother, half sister, but as far as I'm concerned, they're brother and sister. Yeah, their dad was married to my mom before, and then my dad came along, and then I came along. I always, as I said before, I always consider them brother and sister. They have moved out of Missouri. My brother actually went to South Korea to teach English. He did that for a few years. He found out he didn't like what was going on there. I don't remember the exact reason, but then he came back to the U.S. I don't remember what he's doing now. My sister wound up going to New York, and I haven't heard from her very much since then.
So have you been in New York before?
I have not, no. I have been to Pittsburgh, which isn't that far away.
Yeah, I've been in Brooklyn, and yeah, it's a lot of low level bridges, so it's not fun to go in the truck there, but still was interesting to actually explore and stuff. What do you like about Colombia?
Oh, it's a fairly quiet place, at least where I am. So there's that.
Just quiet, so basically you like just peacefulness of the city, right?
Yeah, it's fairly peaceful where I am. There's also a lot of parks you can go to.
Yeah.
And this past year I've been going on walks in those parks. So like for a while there I was going for 7.5 miles right after work. You know, good exercise.
Want more Google reviews faster? With Apex NFC, your customer can share their experience with just a tap. More reviews mean more visibility, trust, and growth for your business. Stand out from the competition with Apex NFC. Use the code VictorTimewolf for 15% off your first order at apexnfc.com. Start growing your reviews today.
Yeah, that's good. It's good. I was passing Colombia, I think, twice or 3 times, but usually I go by I-80 or I-40.
Yeah.
It's rare when I go through I-70, but it's New Year, so decided to pass through. Where is the passion of you playing video games became something that is more interested to you, and you was doing it consistently all the time?
That would have had to have been when my cousin had introduced me to a Game Boy Advance. It was like, what is this? I could see little characters moving on the screen. It was like, oh, I want to play that. He didn't let me play it, so I got frustrated with that. And then my parents bought me a Game Boy Advance, and then I think it pretty much started from then on.
What your favorite game was in the Game Boy Advance?
Game Boy Advance. I think the one that I played the most is Pokemon Emerald.
Emerald?
Yeah, what I used to do after the newer ones came out is I would beat Emerald, send the legendary Pokemon to my Pokemon Platinum, and do that with all the starters too. You spend a lot of hours doing that.
Yeah. Well, go ahead and roll again.
Hopefully it's going well so far.
Well, you tell me.
I'll see. I think that is 19, I think.
19. Good rolls, good rolls. What is the best breakfast?
Best breakfast. I haven't had it in a while, but I prefer steak and eggs.
Steak and eggs.
I don't really get to do that anymore, but I can't go wrong with a decent steak. At least the way I cook it.
Yeah. How long is it taking you to cook steak?
Well, I usually get these pretty big ribeyes, and I just cook it 3 minutes on each side on very high heat. Salt, pepper, garlic. And then after that's all done, let the pan cool down a little bit and fry eggs in there.
Yeah. Have you finished your university here in Columbia, Missouri?
Yeah, I went to Mizzou for computer engineering.
Okay, tell me more.
Let's see. I think probably one of my favorite interactions was back in my Circuit Theory 2 class, where it was difficult work, the homework, and only 5 people had the answer to the homework. So naturally, my instructor at the time said, so only 5 people did the homework, that's good.
Mm.
Those are interesting interactions that happen there. But yeah, I started that back in 2015. It took me, I think, 5 years to graduate.
Mm.
It was an interesting time. I was also at Mizzou when they had those protests going on.
Which one are we talking about? Protests?
I can't remember.
Because it was over a couple of years, it was a lot of protests.
Yeah. There is a specific one where at the end result, somebody had threatened the university. And
Oh.
the fun part about that is I had no idea, and I was walking to class. And when I got in the classroom, I was like, oh, the reason my class is not started is because somebody threatened the school. So as I was walking back, somebody interviewed me. It's like, it was kind of an on-the-spot thing, so I didn't know what to say, which was hilarious because I just wound up saying, what is this guy doing? And then I found out, oh, I was in a potentially dangerous situation, but at the same time, I didn't really care at all.
That's an interesting story. So basically it was a protest and somebody threatened the school and basically you just didn't know anything and you went to class.
Completely ignorant. Yeah.
Well, sometimes ignorance is bliss, right?
Yeah.
So that's good. So it took 5 years for you to learn and do, and what you was learning again?
It was computer engineering.
Computer engineering?
Yeah.
How did you complete your graduation?
Yeah, I completed the graduation.
Oh.
Although right when we graduated was during the COVID-19, so we transitioned from in-person classes to Zoom calls.
Mm.
I didn't care for that too much because I preferred in-person classes.
Gotcha.
And it led to some interesting things with labs because you had to go into the building for labs. They want us all to wear masks. It is what it is though, but I think it significantly affected my learning at the end there.
Did you guys graduated as on the Zoom as well? Like that's
They
what
had it,
was?
but I didn't participate in it. I actually was eating at Slim Chickens with my friends on the day that happened.
On a
It's
roof.
Yeah, not quite the roof. But.
On the roof is fun. Do you have any interesting stories about the university, like before COVID or maybe after? Like what happened except that protest? 4 or 5 years.
I wasn't there to see it, but apparently there was this person camping out in the middle of campus, and eventually he got in trouble for doing that because apparently he caused quite a stench. I don't think he left that tent for a long time. I don't remember the exact things. What I can really think about for stories right now.
Yeah, that's interesting. Just camping, like campfire,
Yeah.
going on and cooking.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
I do have an interesting story from high school, though. Actually, junior high. Let's put it junior high.
That's okay.
I'm pretty sure it's called a Van de Graaff machine, where it produces a really high voltage. And most people do is they have long hair and they stick their hands on it, and it makes their hair stand up. Of course, I don't have long hair, so that wasn't going to work on me. But one of the things they wanted to do was have every student sit on a table and hold hands. That way they could build up a nice charge. What they didn't know is that I was still on the floor, or not sitting on a table. And I got behind my friend and started going with my finger like this, and I could start feeling it jump. I was an inch away, and I got too close. My knees buckled, and everyone started screaming, and I thought it was hilarious. I was ornery then, and I'm still ornery now.
Yeah. I know you're sometimes in a moment person who able to run the jokes.
Mm-hmm.
So it's great. Roll again.
All right.
Are you excited?
Oh, yeah. Number 11.
11. What is your favorite fruit?
Favorite food.
Fruit.
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 Fruit. I don't have it very often, but I have to say kiwi.
Kiwi?
Yeah.
Why
I really like tangy food, and kiwi has a lot of tanginess to it.
Mm. What other fruits have tanniness in it? Mango?
I don't think I've had mangoes very much.
Missing out. Missing out. Costco sells them like, chopped, ready. Just consume, put it in blending machine, and ready to eat.
Interesting.
So, yeah. So I know that when you finished university, you was working at a job, I presume, right? You was looking for a job, and
Yep.
that's the time when you started YouTube, or it was before that or after? How?
It was after I'd started that job.
Okay.
Hmm. I think it was right towards the end of me leaving that job was whenever I started, because I decided that that was what I wanted to do, was the YouTube instead of working there.
Interesting. So what brought you to start your YouTube channel? Because it's a lot of, how to say it, I know a lot of people, and I coach some people as well, like they have resistance to do all of that. Like, what motivated you to actually continue working on it, like while you're doing all of that and starting?
Well, I think the main thing that motivated me is that I really wanted a change in my life, because while I did get that computer engineering degree, I don't necessarily know that's exactly what I wanted to do. I pretty much just went through college mindlessly a bit, but I did wind up going into engineering. Well, I did graduate that, and I have a degree. I could go back into it, but it's not something I emphasize on. So between that and not particularly caring for the job environment that I was in, I decided YouTube might be worth it. It wasn't along my timeline that I thought, but as I kept with it, I was able to grow to 21,000 subscribers, as you see me today.
Tell me more how you started. What do you decided, like, why you want to do, what your channel is about?
What's funny is that I originally started out with a motivational one, but I quickly found out that's not the best thing for me to do, because there's no evidence behind what I was doing. So I went on a call with Rich, and he said, I told him I like video games. He said, why don't you do that? So then that greenlit me doing video games. I didn't really want to do that at first. I thought, oh, that's not that much. But after he mentioned that, it was like, yeah, I'll just go ahead and do it. So then I just started hitting record on things and trying to make funny clips and such. And that got me my first 1,000 views. It's like, hey, I can actually do this. So then I just started going, not really knowing what I was doing, but just creating content, getting more experience with making it, because I think that's what matters the most, is you get those repetitions in, and then you'll start making better content as long as you're mindful about it.
Yeah. How you find out when your first breakthrough happened? Guys, you probably didn't know about it, but I have my own coaching website. You're welcome to follow it in the link down below and see a lot of really important information about my coaching, about my courses. Don't forget to subscribe to my mailing list, where I will be talking more about my future upcoming products and my future upcoming podcast. Keep tuned, and let's get back to the show.
My first breakthrough happened was when took the scenario of, you're in an M26 Pershing and you're facing a Tiger II, how do you kill it? Well, the thing is, in War Thunder, it's not very easy to kill that from the front, so it's a better idea to disable its tracks or gun and then try to get around its side. That one didn't immediately take off, but right when I was starting to get demotivated because my other videos weren't doing so well, I went back into my analytics and noticed, hey, that video is actually doing pretty well. Let's try replicating that. So then that's how my How to Kill series came out, and then from then on, I was getting 40, 50,000 views on each video, and then it really took off from there. That's how I went from, I think, 400 subscribers all the way up to 5,000 in a month, or in 2 months, actually.
Yeah. I remember I remember you publishing one shirt, and you have the special hook. How to, whatever, X for noob.
Yeah.
And I think you borrow it from somebody else, but still it was interesting way how you, after modernize it to something else, how to kill, right? With the video games and stuff. Why tanks?
Why tanks? It's because it's something I was very familiar with. It's something I'd played a lot in War Thunder. Perhaps even more than planes, even though I played War Thunder since 2013, back before tanks were even in the game. That, and I was just more confident in my ability to teach people with tanks, because aircraft are a little more complicated.
Interesting. So if somebody want to start their YouTube channel right now, like, what recommendation you would give them?
What I'd say is probably the best thing to do is figure out what you want to do before you start. Not necessarily all the way down niche, but a general direction, then you can start creating content based on that. That's what I did. I don't think you need to necessarily get to a fine point for your niche at first, but you can find it through pivoting over time.
So after that, your schedule is usually like how often do you do videos and what do you do about them?
At the start, I wanted to have long forms once a week on Tuesdays. Then my job schedule changed and it kind of threw me off on that. I probably should have still been uploading because it doesn't take that much work. But besides that, I knew I wanted to have shorts Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And I just chose noon as a time and that seemed to work out. So that would, when I originally started, it was 4 videos a month. All right, not a month, 4 videos a week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday.
Was it like all long form or short?
Short.
Mostly all.
Short forms were on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Long form was on Tuesday.
Gotcha. And he was developing them every day?
Yeah, it wasn't very organized. I was just working on them as I went.
Oh, gotcha. So basically after work you come in and basically doing some part-time job?
Yep.
And so how long it took you to get monetized?
Well, I think I got monetized in February, and I started in September. So, what is that?
Probably
That's
September,
9 to-
October, November,
It's like-
December, January, and February, middle of the March, or beginning of February.
Somewhere around the beginning of February.
Yeah, so it's 5 months about.
Yeah.
5 months.
It was a journey and a lot of learning through those 5 months.
Yeah.
Because it was like, okay, just got to keep finding what works and keep implementing that. And then eventually I hit that topic of how to kill for noobs,
Yeah.
and then it just really took off.
Yeah. Roll again.
Yes. Let's see if I get a repeat 5.
Yeah, maybe not. Now the question is, what is your favorite food?
What is my favorite food?
Yeah.
I'd say a nicely seared, medium rare ribeye steak.
Any
That is-
sides?
What was that?
Any sides?
Any sides?
Yeah.
Usually I eat it without sides, but if I'm doing it myself and I want sides, it'd have to be roasted asparagus.
Oh, it's the best vegetable ever.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people doesn't know benefits of asparagus.
I need to buy some more of that.
Yeah.
It's really easy to prepare as well.
Yeah, apparently it's have a lot of vitamin K as well in it. I didn't know that before, so it was interesting when I saw it. So you got monetized, you started developing your channel, and I know some of your shirts got close to over 250,000 views just by I think you have multiple shirts that got over 250,000 views. How did you find the way that people would be interested in that type of content?
It was a lot of trial and error because I would do these how to kill ones, but then I'd have other ones that I put in there to see how the audience would react to it. They didn't really react very well, so what I did is that I continued to just up the quality on those, try to be more concise in my wording, because at the start I wasn't very efficient with my words, but over time I became more efficient, and all of a sudden more people watched for longer and subscribed more, and then the views just started really taking off. One thing with my shorts, how I do them, I don't really script them. I just have an idea, and then I just start talking. And then I do that for a few attempts, and I find the best one, and then use that audio line for the short. Because what I really wanted to do is make my job easier editing by speaking correctly the first time or second time. Because I figured if I'm able to work on my speech enough to where I don't have to edit that much, it would be a huge time save.
Interesting. What's going on with the chair? Can you explain this story and this going on joke?
Okay, so I had been doing this War Thunder content for a while on YouTube Shorts. What I wanted to do is include myself in them. So I thought, you know what, let's add something a little funny in there. The Clickbait Premium vehicle, which is an M1A1 Heavy Common, that it has decorations on it, and one of them is a plastic chair. So I decided, you know what, I wanted to make it look like I'm sitting in a chair, so I said, why don't I just go ahead and use that plastic chair from that premium vehicle that War Thunder has, and see if people recognize what it is. And people did. So I said, you know, I'm just going to keep using this if people are going to react to it that way. And it's just been a long-staying thing. at one point I stopped using it because I had some issues editing it. Then I changed it to where that chair, I got a different screenshot and put a green background behind it so I could just easily use it however I wanted to.
So it's just a random skin in a game, basically, right?
Yeah, you could say that.
That's interesting.
Because my first video where I had it included, I just had it zoom up on the tank with a chair in it, and it said, "Why did I buy this vehicle for $70? The plastic chair."
Yeah. And after I saw a lot of memes about the best chair in the world, and it's a plastic chair.
Yeah.
That's cool. How often do you know that you're creating sort of trends in a way? Because with that chair, I think it's been lasting for half a year now. Like I've been hearing about it,
Yeah.
and all of that stuff.
I think one of the trends I started is how to kill for news, because all of a sudden I started seeing some people replicating what I was doing. It was like, people are starting to replicate what I'm doing. I must be doing something right. So I've done that. And I've pretty much just stuck true with my educational content when nobody else has. And I think that might be part of the reason why I get the views that I do, because I'm unique in the niche as far as that's concerned.
Yeah. And a lot of people called you out that it's not your channel, and you need to.
Yes.
What?
When I first started including myself, people said, "This can't be the guy. He shouldn't look like that." One guy said, "I've expected somebody who was fat, pot-bellied, and balding." I said,
Even though your avatar, you haven't changed it since the channel began.
"Yeah, that was hilarious." They could see me in my profile picture for YouTube, but they couldn't equate that profile picture looked like me. Granted, I had lost some weight since I took that picture of me in that suit, but I don't really think I look that much different,
No.
especially in the face.
Especially when it's 2 pixels.
Yeah.
2 pixel picture.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Funnily enough, I did change the background on it because the YouTube coach that I got, he said, "Why don't we go ahead and change this to have more contrast?" So I used a blue-green background so I stick out more.
We'll come back on the coach because I have actually an interesting question about that. You know what? Probably let's roll one more time.
14.
14. Are you ready for a special question? What is your favorite item to shop for?
Favorite item to shop for? I have to think about that one for a little bit.
Please tell me.
Let's see. All right. I have a favorite item to shop for. It's actually the Sam's Club rotisserie chicken, not sponsored. That's mainly because I go in there when my fellow coworker's there, and I mess with them. I'll just say, "Hey, can you get me a good one?" Because I know it inconveniences him. Or I'll do his favorite thing where we have the chickens faced a certain way in this case, and I'll just turn one around when he's not looking. But yeah.
How so? Okay, so you just buy an item just to mess around?
Yeah.
Okay, but do you have an item like what you actually would enjoy, not outside of Sam's Club, buying another one around?
It'd have to be knives.
Knives?
Yeah.
Like hunting knives, or?
Just in general, but hunting knives is a good one.
What is your favorite knife?
Let's see. I don't know. I don't remember the name of it, but it's a nice little folding knife. I use them for cutting open boxes and such, or field dressing rabbits and such.
That's interesting. That's cool. I wanted to say ones that you keep under your pillow.
No, don't need to keep knives under my pillow when we have guns. So
Sounds good. So, as people probably don't know, but we are running together a group to actually improve people of building their YouTube channel and stuff, right? Which is important because I think it's important to have coaches to actually motivate you and sometimes kick you in the butt to actually do shit, which sometimes could be motivational and sometimes could be, triggering to things that I can do more, I can create more and stuff, right? And for the past half a year, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, about 8 to 10 people started their YouTube channel just because we started working together and they see success on your side, and I was doing presentation as well on all of that stuff. So I think 10 people started their YouTube channel, and some people stayed consistent out of those 10. So how the power of coaching is important for YouTube?
I would say the power of coaching is keeping you steered in the right direction and letting you know when to pivot. Like, if you have a coach, they'll tell you when what you're doing is not really effective, and they'll tell you exactly why. Like, for example, there are some people who had thumbnails that weren't very good, and then we'd suggest that they change it, and they did get better results in the end.
Yeah, I think one guy got close to 200 to 250 subs after we just asked him to change his thumbnail, or force him. I don't know what the proper word would be, but yeah, but sometimes they need it. You said you hired a coach as well. I always want to ask, how is it going? Like, what's interesting about it? Like,
well, he gave me a few suggestions, like changing my profile picture, which it does look a lot better now, adding a few things in my profile. I've just gotten started with this, but I've asked him a few questions on if it was a good direction to start clipping my live streams. And he said, yeah, as long as you do it a specific way. I really need to talk with him more because it's just getting started, but we're going to come up with a game plan for getting me to 100,000 subscribers next year.
So over the year, 100K?
Yeah, at least.
At least.
Yeah.
Unless you're going to be shooting to the sky. And true. We'll see. Well, we'll see when your million video will come out.
Yeah.
I'm waiting. I'm patiently waiting and doing. Well, I'm excited for you to see. And I know a lot of people coming for you for advice as well, right? To ask how to start, how to do stuff and stuff. What's the advice you would recommend to them? Like, what best software to use, for example?
Best software? Well, when you're more seasoned, I would say the best that I have used is DaVinci Resolve. However, there was something that I started out with called Clipchamp, but you don't necessarily need to use that. I just found it effective for making some nice little effects because DaVinci Resolve, as you may know, is a little more advanced where you can't just click on something, put it there, and then move it around yourself. But I'd say if you're starting out, Clipchamp would work as long as it's small projects.
Yeah. I like DaVinci Resolve for one particular reason, because you can create animations and all of other stuff by yourself. Basically start building your own profile and folder to use it later. And not everything is like DaVinci standard looks good, and you basically can build out all the profile of all different type of animations what you can use for your video, and that's basically the coolest part of it. Because I was using before different editing software, and when you start using DaVinci Resolve, I basically like didn't want to switch because of learning curve, but I think it took me probably like 5-6 hours with watching some of YouTube videos to learn, and I basically got it pretty quickly, and I'm using it now like for editing interviews and stuff, and the process went way faster. When I realized how easy process going in DaVinci Resolve, it went like really fast. So it's definitely great. What's the best microphone?
Best microphone. The best one I've used so far is the Hollyland one that you had recommended to me.
The one that people cannot see right now, but yeah, definitely. What other equipment do you think is important to start your YouTube channel?
I think really what you need to start, if you want to have your face in it, you could just use a cell phone, just to start. And then once you find out this is kicking off, you can actually start getting a proper camera for it. Because I was a big fan of, let's try getting this started on the lowest budget possible to see if it's going to work. That's how I treated it. And then it started taking off, and eventually I started paying for better equipment, and then eventually buying DaVinci Resolve to get some additional features.
What additional features? What's the difference between regular and...
Well, it allows for GPU acceleration, which means that it works a lot faster. I could also get my auto captions to work properly so I didn't have to manually do them. And that saved me a whole lot of time making my shorts.
So it's basically speed up the process of you creating videos. That's pretty cool. I definitely haven't experienced the deluxe version yet, We'll see where it's gonna take me or why I need it yet, because right now only thing what I can see it for, I think, do they have like AIs that already cut all your clips and stuff
Yes.
that you can?
I don't know about auto clipping for that. Because, as you may know, I actually do manually clip my stuff because I think, at least for the moment, I want to see if I can do it myself and then see if AI can get the same quality afterwards.
Yeah, I'm for my shorts, I'm personally doing AI just because it saves a lot of time for me to do it. I will do like 2, 3.
All right. You already asked that question.
Yeah, but I will ask you now a special question. Don't worry.
Okay.
So number is 19, but because Sean just rolled 19, we'll be asking him a different type of question. What's the most challenging thing you have accomplished?
Most challenging thing I've accomplished. It's interesting because I think two of the most challenging things I've done is graduate college and then also YouTube. But if you were to ask me, I would say YouTube has been far more challenging to me because it's something I didn't really understand at first, and it was a lot more effort, but I was much more motivated to do YouTube at the point I was at. Because it went from not knowing anything at all on how stuff works to learning so much so quickly. And then realizing that the content wasn't where I wanted it to be, it wasn't growing where I wanted to be. And sometime into that, I almost quit, actually. But that's whenever I found, that one video format, How to Kill for Noobs, is actually working. And that set me off on my trajectory. But yes, that was very difficult.
Yeah.
And it still is, because you have to come up with ideas all the time. You can't just sit back if you want to continue to grow.
Yeah. Definitely, I remember when I did my YouTube challenge and I went to start doing the trucking, and I realized that that's not something I want to do because I love doing trucking, but it's not my goal and passion for the future. Definitely, I want to talk to people, learn about people, especially person in front of me.
Yeah.
Sometimes they have so much knowledge to tell and share, and I love that communication. And while I'm driving, I'm able to passing by, stop, and have this conversation and stuff, right? So, and yeah, I'm also like, I think I didn't post anything for half a year, and after I realized what I want to do, and I called the guy and. Call Spencer and ask him, Spence, do you want to do a podcast? And you're like, yeah, let's do it. So it was fun. Plus he helped me a lot as well for the first podcast, and it ended up really good. So then that's how it started my journey as well. So definitely doing YouTube is insane because sometimes you need all the time making better and progress the lines and stuff. Where are you planning to take your YouTube channel, YouTube channel from now and beyond?
All right, so as for next year, I want to get up to 100,000 subscribers, go full time on that. And then after that, I really want to push towards to see just how far I can go, because why not? But as soon as I get to full time, that'll allow me to put in a whole lot more time into actual YouTube. And then I can really take off from there. And that's part of the reason why I have that coach to help me get to that point. So there's that. And then I also potentially want to start coaching people for War Thunder, and then maybe eventually coaching people how to do YouTube, because somehow I managed to be good at it.
Yeah, especially got really successful breakthroughs. When I will see you in captain uniform?
I don't have an ETA on that.
I think it's the most requested topic for the past 3-4 months.
The tank commander outfit, and then put me in front of the plastic chair.
Yeah, why not? You can, I checked, you have, costume rental stores in here. So, why not? While this video comes out, you already will be, you need mustaches too, like mustaches and a hat. Sean, will be good. Interesting way, how you what's the name of your channel? That's the best question we had. We should probably name it because I will put it in the image and stuff, right? But we didn't say
The name of my channel is my name, Sean Ficken. So that leads to some funny reactions from people online because that has a very special meaning, my last name in German, and people just say, I hope you know what your last name means. And I get those comments on almost every video.
Mm.
You'll have to look that one up yourself.
Yeah, definitely. Talking about comments, how you usually reply to people who is cheering you up on your success and people who is bringing you down. Let's just talk first about people who's cheering you up. How
People
you
who are
like-
cheering me on, there's quite a few of them. I usually heart their comments, and if it's something I really like, I'll say thanks for. I'm glad I could help you, and then I appreciate your your positivity to my channel. And there's also people where they ask for help, and I help them with that if I can get to them. There's just so many comments; it's hard to keep up. And then going on to the ones where they're negative people. Sometimes if
Or
they
trolls.
or trolls, I'll read it and see if there's anything that I can get from it for improving. And if it's just somebody who's being negative, I just type in okay with a period at the end. And if they reply again, I just hit okay again and they stop. But if they just continue doing it, I'll eventually hide them from the channel because I don't want people. I just don't like it being negative in my comment section.
Yeah. So if they're gonna watch, they will watch this video and after they'll continue repeating. That's the thing, and you're like, okay.
It's funny, and sometimes when I reply to that, people like my comment more than the person's comment that was complaining because they think, oh, I've had people say that response is based. I just say, okay.
That's interesting. I got some funny comments, especially with Michi and his buttons, and everybody was like talking about his t-shirt and stuff. So it's definitely interesting. If you haven't watched that video, definitely go and check it out. But yeah, some people, it's just interesting just how easy to hide behind monitors and just say whatever they want, eh? And it's easy to put out face there. But I mean, it's internet. That's what you expect when you started all of that stuff, right? That's how a lot of people, I think, quit YouTube, right? Because of the negativity of other people coming into their channel, right?
The interesting thing is that majority of it is positive unless you've done something really wrong, but it's the negative people that stick out the most. So.
But we both know that your haters is the most best marketing team because they promote and send everybody and talk more and just nonstop explain themselves in your comments, which great because YouTube love that.
One of my favorite ones that he was doing that until I hit him because he was just getting too much is that he'd always complain whenever he saw one of my videos. He said, man, why is your video keep showing up on my feed? Well, he doesn't know it's because he's fully watching it and then also commenting, which means that YouTube thinks he wants to watch another one, so he gets more of them. And then he said another channel does better history than mine does, and that's not my focus, and I also don't have a team doing all the research for me, so I didn't really care. It's just funny watching him go off in the comments and nobody's really looking at that.
Well, you're not able to use ChatGPT?
It may not necessarily be that accurate, but...
Well, it saves a lot of time, apparently, some people. I personally sometimes use it to write descriptions for stuff because my writing, like I write usually outline what I want it to be and I like organize it in a better way and it's just, right? So definitely helps and utilizes the work for doing AI, and that's what I recommend to people. Definitely, if you're weak in some areas of your YouTube journey and spots, utilize AI for all of that stuff, right? If you want to do something and stuff, right? But it's not going to be easy to do all of that stuff. So, how you able to make really good viral short? Like, what's the concept? Are you able to break it through right now?
Right now, it was mainly focusing on the idea and wondering if that was good or not. because then I found out after a certain period of time, you give information, but sometimes if you really want to get a lot of views, it's how you package it. Like, for example, one of them, I wanted to show an unexpected thing on a vehicle. It's like, people expected it to be, oh, you shoot here, but no, I wanted to show something else. And I'd word it like, the secret weakness on this vehicle, have a little bit of curiosity, and I'd play into that as my intro on those. Like, this vehicle has strong armor, however, it has one weakness that you may not know of. So that creates a pretty significant curiosity gap, so people are going to watch the end of the video. It's just something I stumbled on. And again, I don't really script my things, I want a certain direction, and then I speak in that direction. And then I test to see if that works, and then if I do that, I just continue with that direction. Because a lot of video making is also you're testing to see if things work. And if they do, that means you're following the right path, the breadcrumbs even.
That's interesting. Are you gonna use your name as your brand in the future?
For now, yes.
Yeah.
I might change it in the future, but that's what I want to stick to.
Yeah.
Because I've used it.
I'm personally waiting until getting a meme t-shirt from you about the chair.
Yeah, the old clickbait chair.
You never know. It could be going good and could be going well. Roll 3 times.
3 times?
But just roll once, answer the question, and we'll go.
Okay. 18.
18. If you were reincarnated as a tree, what type of tree you would be?
Let's see. Probably a bur oak.
Which tree?
A bur oak tree.
What is that?
It's an oak tree, but it has very large acorns. And
Bur oak?
Bur oak.
Okay.
B-U-R. I'm pretty sure that's how it's spelled.
Okay.
Oak.
Don't ask me how it spells.
It has very large acorns. It's interesting. It's also can potentially be a very large tree. There is one in Missouri that is extremely large that I've been to on a camping trip. And what's interesting about very large trees is that their tree limbs are the size of the trees. And that one down there looks particularly interesting. So yeah.
Why you want to become one though? Just to be taller?
Yes, to be taller.
That's
I come from a lineage of vertically challenged people.
Okay.
As my dad would say. I don't really give a crap about how tall I am, though.
Yeah, well, I noticed that the manner how you, when you walk, it's definitely the demeanor, the way you walk and stuff. So, my question about tree, by the way, have you ever traveled anywhere?
Furthest place I've gone is Florida. So, yeah, I've traveled some. I've also gone out to western Kansas, but there's not many trees in western Kansas unless you're in the towns.
Gotcha. Have you been in Canada?
I have not been in Canada.
Good. Roll again.
I believe that's a 6.
Is a line underneath or on the top?
It's on the bottom right corner,
Yeah,
so I
yeah.
think it's a 6.
Yeah. Well, what's the best hobby you like to do?
Well, staying true to what I'm already doing, video games.
What video game are you playing right now?
Right now I've been playing a bit of Pal World.
Well, I don't know. I recently delete a folder of games on my computer just because I didn't have enough space storage to make my next video.
Yeah.
So I have to shift delete.
Yeah.
So
It's a fun little game. People call it the copy of Pokemon, but as many people might not know, there's many games that's copied from other games.
yeah,
Or I should not even borrow, but you have ideas and you just see what works and mash it all together. It's something that's been done and has been tested in time. Maybe there's some issues going on right now between Pal World and Nintendo, but
and we will not be talking about that.
no.
Maybe not. Roll once more.
It's 18.
18 again. Wow, you like to roll the same numbers. Okay, special question. If you could swap lives with anyone for a day, who would it be and why?
It's a tough question. I really don't know if I'd really swap my lives with anybody.
How come?
I like being in full control of what I'm doing. But if I go into somebody else's life, they've already built something that I have not built myself. If that makes sense.
Okay, roll once more then. let's
Let's get that one cut out.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
12.
12. What is your favorite vehicle?
Favorite vehicle?
Yeah.
I assume this doesn't have to include cars.
Well, technically, it's could be plane, could be helicopter, could be.
Because I already know the answer to this question.
Answer tank doesn't accept.
What about a specific one?
Um.
A specific tank.
Sure. Which specific tank?
They have to be between the M60A1 and M60A3 main battle tanks. One of them's just a updated version of the previous one. I had spent a lot of time doing research online on that. I even visited one in a museum near me to do some measurements on it. That didn't go through, but I was very dedicated to getting that vehicle changed in War Thunder because whenever it first came out, the gun shield, which is the part that holds the gun, its armor was definitely not correct. And as of a recent update, that has been corrected with the help of some of the people I've worked with.
Have you ever tried to sell a tank?
No.
I send you the link. Affiliate marketing. You could definitely sell a tank.
Get an affiliate for trying to sell a tank. That would be interesting.
Yeah, I'm curious how much they charge.
It really depends on the tank. If it's like a T-54, it's not that high. Like,
guess what? You can figure it out what tank you want to sell.
yeah.
So see, because it's interesting. And my last but not least question is, if you would be 20 years right now, what you would recommend yourself?
What was that again?
If you would be 20 years right now, what you would recommend yourself?
If I was 20 years old?
Yeah.
Let's see. Probably have started YouTube earlier. Because I had a first attempt, but I just stopped. Or maybe I should say keeping with YouTube whenever I started it. Because I'm finding it pretty satisfying right now. But I just went to college just to go because my parents were telling me, really.
Yeah. Resonate with you, because I think for my kids, when I have any, I will probably, as soon as they finish high school, I will send them to live on their own. Basically, for 4 years, they need to live on their own, because that's how I find out that what education I need to go to, how do I want to live, and all of that stuff. So definitely resonate with you on that stuff, because my parents, you need to get education, because my parents have like 2-3 educations or whatever, right? And I'm like, what for? What for? Everything you can learn right now is online, right? So, and yeah, definitely resonate with you. So, did you oppose them, like fight with them about you didn't want to go?
No, I just kind of let it happen.
Oh.
It's mainly my mom told me that I'll have to move out if I don't go, so I went.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah. It's kind of interesting going from high school to college, because college can incur a lot of debt.
Yeah. Which, well, it's what's the biggest debt in the U.S. history. That's how the U.S. survives, or whatever. So yeah, that's about it. Sean, it's a pleasure to have a conversation with you, as always. I hope I will continue doing Zooms with you.
Yeah.
And building bigger and bigger YouTube guild. And we're able to encourage more people after today and on our Zooms to start their own YouTube channel, because I think that everybody has something important to share and show, and market is never oversaturated, because you can come to the little niches that nobody even care about. I think it's a YouTube channel of just Pet Rock or something like Life of Pet Rock, and I'm like, who's watching that? Apparently like 250,000 of people. So Yeah, but definitely grateful that you have time, and thank you.
Mm-hmm.